Hello, wonderful beings. Welcome to Wheel of Wisdom, episode number 70. I am so happy to have you. Hi, Caitlin. I am so glad to have you to see you as the first one. Okay, you're on your way home again. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for joining me. Can someone confirm is my audio and video fine? It might be different than what it is usually, but yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Caitlin, for the confirmation. I appreciate it. And yeah, I hope that you have a calm and safe journey home. And I think I see someone else also. Is it Srinidhi? I would love to know, whether you are joining us for the very first time or have you been here before? So yeah. I'm just, settling up a little bit because of the change in setup, because there is some kind of construction going on in my home. And yeah, because of it, it was like really frantic, and I didn't really wanted to cancel the live. So I'm trying to make the best of this. Hi, Tina. Welcome. Tina says morning, and it is the first time. Wonderful. I am so happy to have you. I'm glad that this was going on your screen and you decided to tune in. Thank you so much for joining. And I wish that you receive something of value from this live today. Okay, so what we usually do in these lives is that we usually begin with a meditation and then we spin the wheel of wisdom. And on that wheel, we have, names of all the wonderful books full of wisdom. And we just spin the wheel from an open, receptive state so that the universe, God, divine source, spirit, whatever you believe in, can guide us and can help us receive the message that we most need to hear. So that is what we do. And then, then we play a fun game where I ask you to choose a number, and based on that, we, go and do a reading from a book. So, yeah, it's about, aligning to your intuition and having fun along the way in receiving the wisdom. So, kind of like that. Hi Amber. Okay, I see your username has changed. It is a ghost. Yeah, and Amber says, Hola, lovely folks, Grand Rising from Thunder Bay. Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. I'm happy to have you here. So, even though we usually begin with a meditation, this one is going to be a little bit different. So, we are going to just begin with, few deep breaths to center ourselves, to ground ourselves. And that is the motive behind our meditations as well. So, I invite you guys. Hi, Joanne. Hi, welcome. So, Joanne is joining us from Ireland. Beautiful, beautiful. So, Joanne, is it your first time here or have you been here before with us? Okay, it is your first time. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. And I hope that you enjoy the space and you really receive something of value from the space. Hi, Johnny. Hi, welcome again. It's so nice to see you here coming back. So, Johnny is joining us from Finland. Beautiful, beautiful. And yeah, I love your, profile picture. It is very soothing. And yeah, I just love it. Love it. Hi, Susie. It's so nice to see you here again. Susie says good morning. Good morning to you too. Thank you for making me a part of your morning and coming back. I appreciate that. And it feels nice to know that, some of you are receiving some value out of this and you are deciding to spend your time and energy with me. It means a lot. Okay, so I was saying that namaste, Amber. Namaste. Yeah. So Let's, take some deep breaths and then we can directly hop on to spinning the wheel and tapping into some wisdom today. Okay. So allow yourself to get comfortable in whatever posture that you feel, best suited for you right now. And now bring your awareness to your breath as it is and allow it to get more deep and slow. Noticing your breath filling up your lungs and your exhale, leaving slowly, letting go of anything you no longer need. So now take a deep breath in with me and out. One more in and out. A final one in and out. Okay, beautiful. And now that we are more centered and more grounded, we are going to begin with the reading for today. So let me open up my phone and show you the wheel. Usually we do like a longer meditation and in a much, calmer way. But today, I didn't wanted to risk it because as I mentioned, there is or there might be some construction getting started. So I didn't wanted you to get, shocked or startled within the meditation. So thank you for, being patient and allowing me to just change the routine and the environment and everything a little bit today. So, this is our wheel of wisdom. And for anyone who is joining us for the very first time, this wheel contains the name of 31 books out of the many books that I've read in the past, 8 years in my own journey of self transformation. And now, now that we are feeling more grounded after connecting to the life giving force, after connecting to our breath, what we are going to do is that we are going to let the wheel choose a book for us randomly. So, I believe that the universe or God or spirit or source or whatever you believe in always is communicating with us in some way. And yeah, and we are just holding space for that message to be delivered through this wheel today by setting, by being here intentionally. Caitlin says, home. That was a lovely moment. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you, Caitlin. I'm glad that you're home. And I hope that it was a much rather smooth journey today home. Yeah, and I'm glad that you like the guidance. Okay. So before I spin the wheel, I invite you guys to bring to your mind any specific issue that you're struggling with or any specific area of your life in which you would love to receive some guidance, clarity, or direction, or something like that. And if there is nothing specific, then just, allow yourself to set an intention to receive some general guidance for today. And when you have done that, let me know by, pressing the heart icon somewhere here so that we can spin the wheel and, begin the session. Okay. So now that you guys have, you know, communicated to me that something has come to the forefront of your mind, and Caitlin says, I'm open to wherever we land. Beautiful. And Amber has the same intention as well. Okay. So let's spin the wheel and see what wants to come through today. So, holding whatever it is, whether something specific or a general guidance, so hold that intention in your mind as we spin this wheel. Okay, I guess I needed that the most today. Because, yeah, this guidance is not just, for you, it is for all of us and anyone who is listening, even the one who might haven't, tuned in, but that person is sitting besides you. Okay, so the book that came up for today is Peace is Every Step, The Path of Mindfulness in Everyday Life. And the book has been written by Thich Nhat Hanh. So this is my favorite book in sorts that it has introduced me to mindfulness, and now I'm a mindfulness meditation teacher. And also it has kind of changed my life in a way. It it really changed my life in a way. It gave me hope that no matter what the circumstance is, I can always find peace. And, when I mention that word, it comes to my mind that, whenever someone used to ask me that, what do I love the most? Who do I love the most? Or that sort of a question, the word that always popped into my mind was not a person, was not something, it was always peace. So when I found a way to feel peaceful despite whatever is happening around me, I felt hopeful that I would be okay in the future, no matter what. And yeah, that helped me, I think, come out of a very dark time in my own life. So yeah, that's why it is my favorite book. And I'm so happy that it came up for us today. Oh, Janice says I was planning to read it for a long time. Wonderful, wonderful alignment. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I guess it really wanted to come to you as well, as much as you wanted to go to that book. Okay, Caitlin says, love that, Johnny. Beautiful. Okay, so let's see. Hmm. So, in a moment from now, I'm going to play a game with you. So, bear with me for a second until I choose the numbers between which I'm going to ask you all choose from. Okay, just a second. Okay, let's see. Lisa says, can you put the name of the book in the comments? Yeah, sure, Lisa. Okay, give me a second. or I will do it from my phone. Okay, just a second. And by the way, I also like mention the name of the books as well as the readings and everything in my group as well, Lisa, in case you would like to, join it. So the name of that group on Insight Timer is Wonderful Beings. Okay, just a second. I haven't opened my live. Yeah, here. Okay, so this is our book. Peace is every step. And now the moment for fun. So, and this is especially for anyone who is joining us for the very first time because the previous, the people who are coming back know the drill. So, any first timers, I am going to ask you all to choose a number between certain numbers. Okay. And I don't want you to rush at all. Take your time and see which number is coming up for you. Tune into your intuition and let that number pop up for you. And then you can share that in the comment. And why I say that there is no need to rush is because I'm not going to choose the top number, but instead I am going to tune into my own intuition and go through your numbers in the comment and then choose a number randomly, whatever number that I am feeling called to. Okay. So the numbers that I invite you to choose from is choose a number between 30 to 130. A lot of threes. Joanne, choose three. Okay. Yeah, a lot of threes coming up. Joanne, you can choose again in case you need to, because I'm pretty sure on page number three, it might be, something like the author name or something. Yeah. So it contains like all the books by this author. Oh, okay. 33. Yeah. So really going in with the three. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, okay. Dina chose 73. Thank you, Amber, Susie, Caitlin. Beautiful. Hmm. So I'm going to take a sip. Until then, anyone else who would like to choose can choose. Okay. So let's see which number I am feeling called to. Okay, so I have chosen a number, but before I say it out loud, I want to let anyone know who is joining for the first time that whoever number I choose is, it doesn't mean that that number is just, the reading that comes from that page number is just for them. It is for all of us because you are here. So you are meant to receive that message. Okay, so please know that. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open the page number to whichever page number that I am feeling, called to. And what I was doing when I was reading these books is that I highlighted some of the, insightful paragraphs or transformational practices from these books as I was reading them. So I'm going to open that page number and read the highlighted text, from that page. Okay. So the number that I feel called to is 73, and the number has been chosen by Dina for all of us. Thank you, Dina. Thank you for choosing that number. And correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Feel free to type the phonetics and I will correct myself. Okay, so let's go with what was the number here? Yeah, 73. Okay, so it is an anger meditation. Okay, so, hmm, I'm just thinking, should I guide the practice or should I just, mention the practice? Because it is kind of like a walking practice. What do you guys prefer? Should I just read the paragraph or should I guide you guys through a practice, through the practice itself, like in a more slower pace? But if I guide you, it would reduce the time for, next readings. So let me know. Should I read or guide? Hmm. My setup is not very aesthetic today. Yeah, guys. So read or guide. Okay, Joanne says read. Okay, then let's go with reading. Susie says read. Okay, I can see your excitement. You would like me to, do more readings for the ones who are, choosing read. Lisa says guide. Okay. So yeah, so maybe, we're going with majority of votes. So we're going to read. But Lisa, in case you would like, to do this more of as a guidance, then what you can do is that, like, this live is getting recorded. So what you can do is that you can go through the replay and play it at like, minus zero point 0.8 or something, that kind of a speed. And then the pace would be much slower. And you can also, walk because this is a walking practice. So I hope that that would also fulfill your need. Okay, wonderful. And I will let you know where you can find the replays and everything. But just, to mention it shortly, you can go to my profile in the About section. When you scroll down, you will see a link tree. So click on that link tree, and there you will see Wheel of Wisdom replays. Okay. So the author says, when anger arises, you may wish to go outside to practice walking meditation. The fresh air, the green trees, and the plants will help us greatly. We can practice like this. Breathing in, I know that anger is here. Breathing out, I know that the anger is me. Breathing in, I know that anger is unpleasant. Breathing out, I know this feeling will pass. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I am strong enough to take care of this anger. To lessen the unpleasant feeling brought about by the anger, we give our whole heart and mind to the practice of walking meditation, combining our breath with our steps, with our steps, and giving full attention to the contact between the soles of our feet and the earth. As we walk, we recite this verse and wait until we are calm enough to look directly at the anger. Until then, we can enjoy our breathing, our walking, and the beauties of our environment. After a while, our anger will subside and we will feel stronger. Then we can begin to observe the anger directly and try to understand it. So, what the author here is trying to communicate is, you can use this, the practice that was mentioned here, as a way to regulate yourself, to calm yourself down, when you are like all your alarms are going off and you are, like buzzing with anger. You can use this practice where you notice the contact between the soles of your feet with the earth, and you coordinate your, walking your each step with breath. So you would notice like you are taking maybe 3 steps as you inhale and 4 steps as you exhale. And as you continue this practice, you know, you would notice that the number of steps in your exhale would start to get, increased, because that's what's happened when we are in a more calmer state. So there are various elements to this practice, and you can either just practice one element, just noticing, just walk and bring your attention to the soles of your feet touching the earth. That's it. And if you do that just for a few minutes, you will feel yourself more grounded and centered. And this is not to avoid any unpleasant feeling of anger or anger itself, because it is emotions are not bad thing, okay? They are just a way of our body to communicate with us, to grab our attention. So even anger is not bad. If we react out of it, it might have negative consequences, but anger in itself, the emotion is not bad. So we need to look at it directly and learn from it and gain the information, because anger usually comes when a need of ours is not getting fulfilled or a boundary has been violated. And it is important to know that, to have that indicator, to have that anger, to know that. And then, once we have developed this kind of a mechanism, then we can just tune in and see which boundary of our has been violated and take, right measures um in terms of what kind of a person you want to be in that situation. There is no right or wrong per se, like objectively. But yeah, based on how you would have reacted in the situation in a much calmer state. So, yeah, so based on that, we can, use that information and protect our needs back, establish that boundary in a much better way that would have decreased the likelihood of any negative consequences. So, again, this practice is about regulating ourselves. This can be used as that, or to become mindful of the anger, because sometimes we don't even realize that and we just burst outside, on the other person or whatever it is. Yeah. So you can either use your awareness of soles of the feet on the floor. You can just be aware of your surroundings for a moment, because when we have, these kind of unpleasant emotions, our focus is very narrow. And the reason behind that is because when we were like cavemen and things like that, so in the past, our ancestors needed that sharp vision when they are experiencing fear or anger or stuff like that. Because, they needed to focus on the thing in front of them, especially in terms of like if fight flight responses, right? So if we are going to fight someone, we need to be able to take everything in, in terms of that. So we were very narrowly focused, or you might hear like something moving in the bush and you need to be like really aware of, bring your focus there so you don't get killed, you survive, right? So that's why our when we are experiencing any negative emotion, our focus narrows, while when we are experiencing a positive emotion, you know, uh, our attention, our awareness expands, and that has been proven by research. So now, when we are intentionally doing that, when we are bringing our awareness and taking in the whole of the environment, you know, then we are shifting our gears inside from the emotional brain dominating ourselves to tuning into the logical one as well. So yeah, these are like, explaining the reasons behind these strategies. So yeah, or you can use the third one where the author says just focusing on the breath and repeating a mantra. Like breathing in, I'm noticing anger building in, breathing out, I know that this feeling will it will pass or something like that. So yeah, we got a lot of, regulation techniques in one for anger. and I'm going to go through the comments. And if you feel resonated with this or with what I shared, feel free to, mention that in the comment. Amber says, sorry, Amber, yeah. Amber says you can always access the replays via her links on this profile about an hour after we finish and write down the practice to guide yourself through it. Yeah, thank you so much, Amber, for mentioning that. Yeah, you can always access the replays there and re-listen, or if you missed out anything, you can go through them, or you can, check out the previous sessions as well. Okay, I'm going to drink some water because I am mispronouncing things. And then we're going to do the next reading. Okay. Until then, you can vote. Would you like me to do another reading from the same book or a different book? Like spin the wheel again and choose a different book. And by the way, if you are looking for, learning more regulation techniques, then I do actually have a playlist of like multiple regulation techniques that usually, therapists or coaches recommend their clients to help them calm down when they're overwhelmed by emotion or when like flight, fight, freeze responses take over our body. So, where you can find is you can go to my profile, scroll all the way down. Yeah, you will see self-soothing techniques. So in this, you can find various, type of regulation techniques there. Let's see. So the vote says a different book because people like spinning, and I do too. So Susie says spin the wheel, Caitlin as well. Jani says, thanks. I was reminded that I love walking. New aspect to notice souls touching. Wonderful. I am glad that you are able to, take something out of this session in terms of incorporating a very simple element to already existing habits. And that is a very sure way to continue a habit when you associate it into a already existing habit. So yeah, I hope that you really enjoy your next walk, Jani. Thank you so much for sharing that and for all the beautiful emoji of flowers. Okay, so let's spin the wheel again and see what wants to come through. Okay. Hmm. So again, holding anything specific that you would like to receive some guidance on. And here we go. Okay, so the name of the book that came for all of us is Excuses Begone: How to Change Thoughts That Keep You from Your Dreams by Wayne Dyer. So, this book has been written by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and the name of the book is Excuses Begone. So, let's see. Okay, I see some people loving the name, like loving this book. So, this book has come up before for us. Hmm. So, this time I'm not going to, ask you guys to choose a number, but I feel like tuning into my own intuition. Okay. So I'm going to set an intention for all of us. Close my eyes, tune into my intuition and scroll through the pages until I feel like this is a section that everyone present here needs to hear. Okay. May every single person listening to this right now or later carry with them a sense of calm and warmth in their heart as they go about their day. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see what came up. Okay, so the subheading for this is four criteria for creating a rational reason to change. Let's see it. So, the first criteria that the author mentions is it must make sense. So, ask yourself when you are considering, like, whether to make this change in your life or should I not? Should I let things be like this? Maybe you are planning to start a new business or venture. Maybe buy a new house, maybe shift, maybe, do something else. Just make a change in any area of your life in any way, whether small or big, whether you have been wanting to make the change for a long time or it just occurred to you right now, whatever it is. So, to decide, the first criteria for creating a rational reason to change is it must make sense. So ask yourself, do I really want to bring about this change? A very simple question, but yeah, just let this question go within and ask yourself, do I really want to bring about this change? Maybe you do want to, but there are fears. But if the answer is yes, then we can continue to the next step, which is criteria two. It must be doable. So ask yourself, am I willing and able to do what it takes to overcome these long held habits of thought and action? So it might be, you are used to certain way of behaving, and now if you're going to make this change, then you would need to let go of your usual way of behaving or acting. And if there are, fears and everything associated with it as well, then you would have to let go of your thought process in a way, like, whatever beliefs that you hold. So, are you willing to, change, to let go of your old ways of thinking and acting and behaving? So, are you willing and are you able to? Willing is a more, willing is a more important question here because if they are fears, then your answer for, are you able to might be, here and there until you're working with someone who can help you see your own ability and see the truth behind all the fears that have you been able to deal with something challenging, similar before. And if you have at that time, then you would be able to at this time as well, no matter what your mind is telling you, because it doesn't like change. So it will make up any story to stop you to make a change, even if it is going to lead to a very good life. So there is, I think, this saying that goes like your mind or your subconscious, because that is the part that is running these habits and everything. So your subconscious mind is always going to choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. Your con- your un- your mind, simply your mind, is always going to choose a familiar hell over unfamiliar heaven. So the author continues in this particular criteria. And thank you, Amber. Amber says you're capable. Exactly. Thank you for that affirmation for yourself and for everyone. So, Yeah, so when you ask yourself in this criteria that it must be doable, so when you ask yourself this question that am I willing and able to do what it takes to overcome these long held habits of thoughts and actions? So if the answer is that you just can't make a change, you know yourself well enough to predict that you won't do the work that's necessary to accomplish it, then you're wise to heed that response. Forget about changing those old habits, at least for now. However, if you don't know how you will be able to do it, but you still feel like it is doable, then proceed. So, the author here reminds us that sometimes when we are starting something new or making a change, we exactly don't know how, the exact steps to get there. So if that is your hesitation, that how do I do this? How do I achieve that and, go through all of this? Then go for it. You don't need to know the exact whole pathway to reach or to achieve or to do whatever you want to do. So that is not a necessity. It's your willingness you know, and based on your own understanding of yourself to know that would it be doable. Doable meaning if you get overwhelmed, even maybe you know the next step, okay? Maybe you know the next step, but you get overwhelmed by it and you would be like, okay, it is too much. Then ask yourself, if I break it down to the smallest step, then would that be doable? So, try to your fear is going to come and cover your eyes, and it is not going to let you move forward. But and maybe the fear can come in the form of perfectionism. It can come in the form of procrastination. It can come in the form of many different things. It has many guys, disguises. So that is why the author says that if you know yourself well enough to predict that you won't do the work that's necessary to accomplish it, if you won't invest the efforts and time and energy, then maybe the author says that forget about changing that old habit, at least for now. So it doesn't say that abandon it forever, but maybe right now you don't have a big enough motivator to help you push through that maybe discomfort or whatever it is. So maybe leave it for now. And if the barrier is in terms of that you see it is doable, but you don't know how to, then proceed ahead. That was our second criteria in terms of, you know, so the heading was four criteria for creating a rational reason to change. First was, do I really want to bring about this change? Second was, am I willing and able to do what it takes to overcome these long held habits of thought and action? The third criteria is, it must allow you to feel good. So close your eyes and visualize yourself as being completely free of any limitations, completely free of these limitations, and notice how does your body react. So visualize there is no fear around it, no fear of failure, nothing, no limitation of any sort. Okay, and you are achieving that, you are getting that. Then how does your body reacts, without any fear or limitation when you think about this change? So if you feel good, that's all the evidence you need to prove to yourself that you have a rational reason to change. And if the idea of eliminating an incapacitating thinking habit or your old thinking patterns that you have had for a long time, resonates with you, then imagine it being gone. So imagine all the old thinking patterns that were leading to fear has left you. They are no longer limiting you. And notice, how does your body react to that? Does its disappearance, the disappearance of the old habits, register in your body as a positive, healthy, and happy sensation? Or is there any sort of tightness? So, this will give you insight as to whether, not even in terms of taking the action or changing your behavior, not even making any outer change, but are you even ready to make that inner change where you let go of your old thinking patterns, your old limiting beliefs? And if you are, then yeah, you are, a lot more step closer to making this change. You are ready to make this change. So, the final criteria says that it must be aligned with the callings of your soul. So it's always, helpful to bring our soul and, all of that kind of energy into whatever we are trying to do, to connect with a deeper purpose, to feel more aligned in terms of aligned with your values or aligned with whatever you feel called to do. So in this, there are like, let me see, there are four cardinal rules. So, the first cardinal rule or the first cardinal virtue is reverence for all life. Since the Tao or God is in the business of creating and allowing, why would it create anything that is unlike itself? Or even worse, something that it despises? So, what it brings for me is that sometimes how we think of ourselves, that we are not worthy of happiness, of success, or of forgiveness if you have done something that you regret, or if you are not capable, or, all of these limiting beliefs that we hold with about ourselves. And the author, in a way, tries to remind us that if you believe in God, if you believe in a higher power, and if we are a part of it, or if we were created by that power, by the very definition of perfection, if you will, then why would it create something that lacks? If we were a part of it, then how could we even lack anything? And it is reminding me of a quote by, Marianne Williamson. And I feel like, reading that one here. It is a big one. Give me a second. It is a very famous one as well. So, yeah, yeah. So, Marianne Williamson says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who you are not to be. There is always this voice that, and it was a voice within me as well before I was pondering this idea of coaching others, of getting into life coaching or, of taking therapy sessions and everything. But who am I, you know, to guide them? And yeah, I myself have sometimes fears. I myself, you know, have don't have my life whole figured out. I myself am not perfect. I myself am lazy. I myself am not be able to keep up with all of these different habits. I myself eat unhealthy food, so all of the things that are imperfect about me. And yeah, I'm thinking of me as to how small I am to witness the pain of another person. And how could I even guide them through something that I haven't been through in my own life? And all of those questions, the part of like imposter syndromes just bombarded me and crushed me as well before I open up. And this was a line of thing that helped me get past it. So what helped me, not again reading this one, but yeah, what helped me was to ask myself that who who am I to not share what I can with these people. I have dedicated all of these years, like studying psychology or working on my own self. I have read so many books, just and not just for just saying it out loud, but yeah, for helping myself, for guiding me, and for just trying to help me get out of my darkest times. And yeah, so I reminded myself that I do have something to offer, and I can try giving what I have and see if it helps anyone. So yeah, so who am I not to share what I know? Even the word gifts was too much for me to consider. And now and it hasn't been a much longer time, but and I don't say that I don't have these fears right now as well. I don't have a voice that says that you are not capable, or you're not you would not be able to guide this client or stuff like that. I do have it, and I think most people do. Most of the world class coaches even have that. Most of the amazing psychologists, most of the amazing healers, and other people in this domain have it. But they do not let it decide. They do not make them stop doing whatever they are doing. And I guess, yeah, that is something that I've learned. That even if I have it, I'm not going to let it stop me or go down my own spiral because I need to be there for that other person. And what can do is that maybe even put in more efforts into that session, into that work with that person, so that I can give my best based on all the knowledge that I have until now. So, yeah, okay, going back to this. Yeah, so Amber says, You're fabulous. Shine forth. Thank you, Amber. Thank you so much. And you guys help a lot, to see, I don't know, to see the value within me, to know that I do have something to offer to some people at some point in their life, maybe. So, yeah, that helps. And yeah, all the lovely people that I've worked with helps. Okay. Reminding myself of the evidence against it, of every single evidence that I have that I am capable, that I am helping, that I have a gift or something like that. Reminding myself of every single evidence help. Okay. I hope that that was helpful to maybe someone here. Janice says, I don't let mind stop me from being around people who also mutually benefit from it. It was helpful. Thank you so much, Jani, and for sharing that. Yeah, and that's what important. That's what is important. Healing is not about getting rid of your difficult thoughts, your difficult emotions, even your trauma or your grief. It is about not letting it dictate your life, not letting it control your life. And and for that we don't need to suppress it. We just need to create a space around it and to hold it in our own loving presence, to hold that fear, to hold those emotions, because we cannot just eliminate it from our life, but we can create a whole vibrant, rich life around it so that it doesn't suffocate us. Just like if we have a small bowl and in which we have some water and we just put a drop of ink, then it would you know encompass and dominate the whole water. But if we just expand over it, if we just do the same thing in a lake, perhaps, then it wouldn't make much of a difference. It would still be there. Again, not eliminating it, but not make, it would not run and it would not color every single thing, in that life. So, yeah, that's what we need to do around whatever it is that is bothering us. To not focus our attention on controlling it, eliminating, and everything, but creating space, holding it, and focusing on the things that we love and filling our life with that. Okay. So, yeah, kind of got sideways there, but yeah, now I get it why I felt called, why that quote was coming up for me. Jane says, thanks for the advice. I'm glad that, sharing my own experience helped you, Jane. Yeah. And I don't believe in advices. Advices feels like kind of pressured, when someone gives you advice and they're like, that person don't know how hard my life is. Um, yeah, but I believe in sharing my own experience to help you or to help you to guide you in terms of, you know, directing your way so that you can find that answer, find that, warmth and love and whatever it is that you need within you. Yeah, I know, Jana, you meant in a good way, but I also wanted to, share that. So, yeah, I guess that wanted to come through for someone else, maybe. So yeah, thank you for sharing that word and allowing me to share my views. And I know you meant in a good way, and I so appreciate that this resonated with you. I do. Okay, I see someone new joined us. Hi, Lisa. It's so nice to see you here back again. And it seems like you missed the session. No worries. Since you are a regular, you might already know where to find the replays. And if not, I'm going to mention that just now. So, you do. Okay, beautiful. Okay. And yeah, I think it's time to wrap the session. I, really need to. I really wanted, to be there for the session. I didn't felt like canceling it, even though there is chaos around. Like if I look around my room, everything is like I feel like I'm sitting in a storeroom or stuff like that. And I have something else to do as well. But yeah, I still wanted to come through, in this particular live. And yeah, I see why. I see why. I felt like, this was a nice live. And I hope that you do also felt the same. So it's time to end the live. And before you go, especially for anyone who is joining us for the very first time, I do have few announcements to make. The first one is that, especially for women, because recently I have started to offer women a gift, and the gift is a complimentary session with me. So if you are a woman who would be interested in working with me, and sitting in a session, and gaining something out of it, whether it is support, whether it is guidance, whatever it is going on in your life, if you would like to sit with me and process that in a coaching setup, in a free 1 hour coaching session, then you're welcome to message me on Insight Timer. And the way to message me is, okay, give me a second. You can, where it is. Yeah. You can go to my profile, and if you're already following me, you would see the follow button would convert into donate button, and above it, three dots will appear. So click on the three dots and go to message teacher, and you can message me that Anisha, I'm interested in this, something like that. And I would absolutely be honored to, walk alongside you in your own journey and do my best to guide you. And I can promise you one thing, that you would leave that session with at least one powerful insight, because that has happened with every single woman that I've worked with so far. So yeah, that is something that I can promise you for sure. So yeah, so if you're considering, investing your time and energy in this, you can, carry with that promise. And if anyone else here has had that session with me, you can, mention that in the comment, like how was your experience, to let other people know in case they are like dicey about it. Yeah, and okay, let me think. What were the other announcements? Yeah. So, as I mentioned, that this is getting recorded, this whole live is getting recorded, and every live in the series of Wheel of Wisdom has been recorded. So, if you missed upon any reading, or if you would just like to go back, you can go to my profile, go to the About section, okay, go scroll all the way down and click on the link tree. Thank you, Jane, for that, sweet donation. Thank you so very much. I appreciate your generosity and the support. It really helps me continue, keep these lives going or continue my any of the other free offerings going. Thank you so much for supporting me and the many others that get to receive some value from this. So it means a lot. Thank you. Janice says, thank you for supporting women. I am happy to. It just brings me so much joy and fulfillment. And that's why I continued, doing this, yeah, complimentary session thing. I just started this like, just kind of an experiment. And then I kind of fell in love with it in a way, to sit and hold that space for someone. It so thank you so much, really. It means a lot. It helps me continue that. Okay. So going to the recording. So you can access the replay in the profile in the about section. When you click on the link tree, you will see this. So you will see Wheel of Wisdom replays here. So this contains a whole playlist of all the Wheel of Wisdom lives that I've done so far. Okay. So, you can play with your intuition. Like, whenever you need some guidance and I am not going live, you can always just open this playlist, choose a number between 1 to 70, because this is episode number 70, and just watch that video, whatever number comes up for you, and trust your intuition and know that that message wanted to come to you today. But it does take like 1 hour for this video to get uploaded because it is a longer video. So if you want immediate access, then what you guys can do is that you can, join my own little community on Insight Timer, which is, let me type it. Yeah. So you can either search it in the search box on Insight Timer, or you can go to my profile. Okay. Scroll all the way down, and you will see wonderful beings here. So I would love to have you, in this group, because I kind of post a summary after each live within like 5 or 10 minutes. I mentioned the type of meditation that we did. In today's session, we didn't, but usually we have done at least one meditation in every session. And I have recorded like, I think 78 meditations or something so far since January. So yeah, and I'm now publishing them like as a free track on Insight Timer so everyone can, access them. Yeah, so yes, I was telling you about the group. Yeah, so coming back, so when you post I post a summary there, including the type of meditation that we do in each live, in that live, or the name of the book, the exact reading that we did, and stuff like that. So yeah, if you would like to stay updated, especially like if my new track is coming and stuff like that, then I post that in the group. And if you don't, feel like joining the group, that's perfectly all right. You can, just follow me to get notified when my next live comes up or when my next track comes up. Yeah, and I have like the next live scheduled for tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So back to back lives, and I would love to see like each and every one of you there. I have so enjoyed the live session today, and there were a lot of first timers today. I would love to see you all, back again in tomorrow's and day after tomorrow's live. Lisa says thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate your presence. So, um, so if you enjoyed like my energy and me just as a person or something like that, then you can just check out my profile and go through the content. I have actually like created playlist and organized all my content in those playlists. So you can check them out and yeah, just see whatever you feel called to do. Um Susie says, I will be here. Thank you. Thank you so much, Susie. I would be looking forward to have you in the next live. So, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your presence, for the lovely interaction, the hearts, and for your share, for sharing your own piece of story or your own experiences. Thank you so much. I bow down to the divine within you all. Namaste. Bye. See you tomorrow.